Hello. Today's practice will be a short floor-based sequence for your hips. Now, all you'll need is a pair of bare feet and a yoga mat. So when you're ready, find a seat, and we'll start with a few moments of contemplation of the breath. Over the next few moments, close your eyes. And once you've done so, just pay attention to your inhaling and your exhaling. And should your mind wander elsewhere, just notice as quickly as you're able to and redirect to your breath. And then, still breathing normally, pause at the end of your exhales until it becomes slightly uncomfortable. Take a normal inhale and a normal exhale afterward. And repeat that pause over and over again for the next few moments of practice. And every time you pause your breath, let your thoughts melt. And if you're able to, make your breath retention just a little bit longer on the next few rounds of exhale. For the moment, return to normal breathing patterns. And join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Bring to mind someone you would like to dedicate today's practice to. And then send your person some good energy mentally. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So we'll start with an outer hip opener. When you're ready, cross your right ankle over your left leg and sort of put your foot down there on the floor. Wrap your left arm around the right knee and pull the leg closer to vertical for now. For the next few moments, just spin your belly and chest around the leg and keep hugging the knee in. Hugged position will give you some stretch in the outermost hip. Rotate your chest just a little further over to the right there and keep breathing as you squeeze in. Slow inhales and slow exhales. Now, keeping your legs in that same position, release the twist, and then press your knee over a bit further and attempt to stack your knees. Your knee doesn't have to make it all the way over the left one, just get as close as possible. And then drop both heels back near your sides. If having both legs crossed like this is too much, you can always do this one with a straight left leg. For now though, sort of wiggle back and forth to ensure that your sitting bones are grounded to the earth. Slide your shoulders toward your belt, and then lean forward over your leg just a little bit at a time to stretch open your hip. Pause at the end of your exhales, maintain your forward lean. Breath by breath, you get a really great outer hip opening. Mentally, soften any of the spaces that resist. And with no force or strain whatsoever, just relax your way deeper into the pose. If you find a stopping point rather than force past, just allow yourself to be there for a little bit. And then use your next inhale to sit all the way back up. And unfurl your legs completely. Go ahead and straighten them out and wake up your legs again, give them a little bit of a shake. Right, then the same twisting posture on the other side. Cross your left ankle over your right leg and draw your heel back near your hip. Now, in this first one, you're trying to target the hip as opposed to just your spinal column. So wrap your right arm around your left knee, pull the leg closer to vertical, and now rotate your torso open to the side. In this position, with the leg locked into the chest, you won't be able to twist as deeply as you might normally, but that's okay because really you're trying to target this space on the outer hip there. Once you've settled into it and you can feel some stretching in your outer hip, breathe deeply. Slow inhales and slow exhales. Try to maintain the verticality of your knee as you keep breathing. Then the cow-faced posture next. Press your knee over to the side. You can sort of wiggle your foot over there to help stack your knees. That oftentimes lifts your left sitting bone off the floor, so try to depress it back down to the earth and pull your feet back near your side. Now, if you practiced with a straight bottom leg before, make sure you do that again. Slide your shoulders away from your ears just so that your neck feels a bit longer, and then forward lean a bit at a time. As you hold, pause at the end of your exhales. A yoga pose is a really amazing way to focus your mind. So if your mind wanders off to anything else at all, try to notice that it's gone elsewhere and redirect to the feeling of your stretch. Redirect the pause at the end of your exhales. And that combined focus on breathing and feeling will oftentimes keep your mind centered in the present. Just try to relax and be still and with no force or strain whatsoever. Let your body's weight carry you deeper until you find the edge. That point reveals itself. If it doesn't seem to be releasing, don't try to force it, just be still there. It will release when it's time to release. Perhaps today, perhaps not, perhaps on a completely different day. So just patiently lean. Then use an inhale to sit all the way back up. Unfurl your legs completely, extend them forward, and give your knees some shake. This next pose is really amazing because it gets your hip flexors as well as your hamstrings all at the same time. Now, when you're ready, move back to a four-pointed kneeling position, and then lunge your right foot all the way forward. In this pose, you want your right knee to be stacked directly above your ankle, so scoot your foot into that position. And you want this rear leg to be relatively extended, so slide the leg further and further backwards. Now, if that's bothersome for your knee, you can always curl the edge of your mat under a little bit so you have some additional padding. Once you've settled into position, take your right hand to your right knee, your left hand down to the floor, and then just let your hips sink forward and downward toward the earth beneath. If it feels okay to you, you can always take both hands down to the earth. But as you hold, try to tightly squeeze your right knee into the midline of your body so that your shin remains fully vertical. Like before, just hold still and breathe. Now, you may well be getting enough stretch in that posture that you're in, so if so, stay there. Otherwise, you can attempt more stretch by taking your left elbow to the ground. Check into your knee again, make sure it's hugged in towards your midline. And if you really want to go a bit deeper, then consider taking both elbows to the floor. Choose a variation that gives you some opening in the back of your right leg. You'll also get opening in the front of your left leg, though you may feel a little bit less there. If you've gone too far into one of these elbow down variations, come back to straight arms. And just keep breathing. Breath by breath by breath. Relax. If your elbows are down, press back up to 2 straight arms. Roll your mat under, unfurl it completely. And then this time, go ahead and move back to the 4-pointed kneeling position again. With your shoulders stacked right above your wrists, round your spine and roll your tail under. And arch your spine in the other direction with your tailbone and your chin lifted. And alternate back and forth. On your exhales, you round. And on your inhales, you arch the spine repetitively. Then take a look forward and step your left foot all the way ahead. Sometimes that bottom knee can be a little sensitive, for the back knee rather, so if that's the case, roll your mat under. Additional padding really helps quite a lot. If your knee is well ahead of the ankle, just squiggle your foot forward a little bit more so that your knee remains vertically placed. Make sure you've scooted your rear leg back also. Then initially with your left hand on your knee and your right hand on the floor, let your hips descend and sink downward toward the front of your mat beneath. Sometimes you can apply some inward pressure in your outermost knee. That'll keep the leg vertical as you sink. Now, if you'd like to take both hands to the floor, do so now. Try to keep your spine relatively long all the way from the base of it upwards to the top. If you're going to go for that whole elbow down position, take your right elbow to the floor first. And taking the left elbow down takes a little more flexibility, so if your elbow hovers off the ground, that's okay. If it does come down, take it down. And keep hugging your knee in toward your midline as you hold. Relax and breathe. If you find a spot that feels a little resistance, just try to relax that spot mentally. And press all the way back up and out. Unfurl your mat if you rolled it under. Move back to the 4-pointed kneeling position. With your shoulders stacked right above your wrists, round your back. Arch your spine. And connect those motions to your breath. Use your exhales to round. And your inhales to arch. Now finally, for your inner thighs, the wide-legged child's pose. Slide your knees well apart until they're wider than your hips, and then allow your hips to settle downwards toward your heels. In this posture here, take your elbows all the way down to the floor. Now, if your knees are sensitive against the floor, you can always rotate your body open so that your knees are supported by the mat. Just make sure you've slid your knees well apart so you're feeling a pretty substantial stretch in your inner thighs. Everybody's body is built differently, and you might be getting plenty of stretch. But if you're not, you can rock your hips forward a little bit till your sitting bones align with your knees. Turn your toes out to the sides and come onto the inner borders of your feet and separate your ankles until they're about knees width wide. And then from there, that should enable you to slide your knees just a little bit further apart. Go gently with this one because these muscles don't get stretched too terribly often. And again, like before, relax and breathe. Try to soften the spaces that resist. Relax your face and relax your jaw. Let everything else follow along. And press all the way back up. Take your knees closer together. Roll backward over your legs to a full seated position. And then for the moment, rest your hands on your legs. Sit up nice and tall. Close your eyes and redirect all of your focus to your breathing. Pay close attention to your inhaling and pay close attention to your exhaling. Then join your hands together in a prayer at your chest. Remember the person you dedicated today's practice to. And either pray for or wish for their happiness and their health. Take a moment to be grateful for the gift of another day. And if you wish, repeat after me. May all sentient beings everywhere experience peace.